No one helped the sick waitress until a billionaire's daughter stepped in unexpectedly. What if the person you helped in your darkest moment turned out to be someone who could change your entire life? That's exactly what happened to Elena Rodriguez, a 34-year-old waitress at Murphy's Diner in downtown Chicago. She'd been fighting a brutal case of pneumonia for weeks, but couldn't afford to miss work. With medical bills piling up and no insurance, she pushed through each shift with trembling hands and a fever that wouldn't break. On that cold Tuesday morning in November, Elena could barely stand. Her vision blurred as she carried trays, and customers complained about her slow service. Most people looked right through her suffering, too busy with their own lives to notice the young woman quietly falling apart. But sometimes, when we least expect it, an angel appears in the most ordinary disguise. Sometimes help comes from the most surprising places, reminding us that kindness still exists in this world. Where are you watching from today? Elena had worked at Murphy's Diner for 3 years, ever since moving to Chicago to care for her elderly mother. The small neighborhood restaurant wasn't much to look at, with its cracked vinyl booths and flickering neon sign, but it had been her lifeline. She'd built relationships with regular customers, remembered their usual orders, and always served with a genuine smile despite her own struggles. Her mother, Carmen, lived in a tiny apartment 6 blocks away, battling diabetes and heart problems. Elena's paychecks barely covered the rent, groceries, and her mother's medications. When the cough started 3 weeks ago, Elena ignored it. When it turned into chest pain and high fever, she still couldn't stop working. Missing even one shift meant choosing between her mother's insulin or the electric bill. That Tuesday morning felt different. The autumn wind cut through Elena's thin jacket as she walked to work, each breath sharp and painful. Her reflection in the diner's window showed hollow cheeks and dark circles under her eyes. Inside, the breakfast rush was already building. Coffee makers hissed, bacon sizzled, and the familiar chaos of morning service began. At table 7 sat a young woman about Elena's age, elegantly dressed but not flashy. Her auburn hair was pulled back simply, and she wore minimal makeup. She ordered just black coffee and toast, speaking politely to Elena despite noticing the waitress's obvious illness. Most customers that morning had been impatient, some even rude when Elena moved slowly or forgot small details. This woman was different. She said, "Please," and "Thank you," with genuine warmth. As the morning wore on, Elena's condition worsened. She dropped a plate, spilling scrambled eggs across the floor. Her hands shook so badly she could barely hold her order pad. The diner's owner, Mr. Murphy, pulled her aside with frustration creasing his weathered face. "Elena, you're scaring customers. If you can't do the job, maybe you should go home." The words hit Elena like a physical blow. Going home meant no pay, and no pay meant disaster. Tears stung her eyes as she returned to her tables, trying desperately to hold herself together. The woman at table 7 watched this exchange with growing concern, her coffee growing cold as she observed the unfolding crisis with careful attention. The breakfast rush intensified, and Elena's world began spinning out of control. Each step felt like walking through thick mud, her lungs burning with every breath. She served the wrong order to table 3, forgot cream for table 5, and nearly collapsed while carrying a heavy tray. The other waitress, Jessica, tried to help when possible, but she was overwhelmed with her own section. Mr. Murphy's patience reached its limit when Elena accidentally knocked over a customer's orange juice. "That's it," he announced loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. "Elena, you're done for today. Come back when you're feeling better." His tone suggested he doubted she'd have a job to return to. Elena's heart shattered. Without today's tips, she couldn't buy her mother's medication. The prescription cost $80, and she had exactly $12 in her wallet. Panic gripped her chest, making her breathing even more labored. She untied her apron with trembling fingers, tears flowing freely now. The woman at table 7 had been watching everything unfold. As Elena gathered her purse to leave, the stranger stood up gracefully and approached her. "Excuse me," she said gently, her voice carrying genuine concern. "I'm sorry if this seems forward, but you're clearly very sick. Have you seen a doctor?" Elena wiped her eyes, embarrassed by her appearance. I can't afford to miss work, she whispered, her voice hoarse. My mother needs her medication, and I. She couldn't finish the sentence, overwhelmed by the kindness in this stranger's eyes. The woman introduced herself as Rachel Chen, and something in her manner put Elena at ease. Rachel didn't speak with pity or condescension, but with the understanding of someone who genuinely cared about human suffering. What medication does your mother need? Rachel asked quietly, glancing around to ensure their conversation remained private. Elena explained about the insulin and heart medication, about the bills that never stopped coming, about working while sick because she had no choice. Rachel listened intently, asking thoughtful questions about Elena's situation. When Elena mentioned having no insurance, Rachel's expression shifted to one of determination. If this moment touched your heart, please give the video a thumbs up. As they talked, Mr. Murphy approached, clearly uncomfortable with the extended conversation. Elena, you need to leave now. You're disrupting other customers. His words were harsh, but Elena caught a flicker of guilt in his eyes. Rachel stepped forward slightly, her presence somehow commanding respect. She's leaving, Rachel said calmly, but I'd like to speak with you privately first, if that's all right. Elena stood outside Murphy's diner in the bitter November wind, watching through the window as Rachel spoke with Mr. Murphy. She couldn't hear their conversation, but she saw the owner's expression change from annoyance to surprise, then to something resembling respect. Rachel handed him what looked like a business card, and Mr. Murphy studied it carefully before nodding slowly. Meanwhile, Elena's phone buzzed with a text from her mother. Mija, I'm feeling dizzy again. When can you pick up my medicine? The words crushed Elena's spirit completely. She'd failed her mother, the one person who depended on her most. 3 years of struggling, of sacrificing everything, and she couldn't even keep her job long enough to afford basic medication. She thought about her father, who had passed away 5 years ago, always telling her that hard work and dignity would see her through any challenge. He'd been wrong. Hard work wasn't enough when the system was stacked against people like her. She felt angry at herself for being weak, for getting sick, for not having the strength to push through one more shift. Rachel emerged from the diner and found Elena sitting on a nearby bench, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Without saying a word, Rachel sat down beside her, offering a clean tissue from her purse. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching cars pass by on the busy street. I know what it's like to feel helpless, Rachel said finally. My father used to tell me that money doesn't solve every problem, but it can eliminate unnecessary suffering. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Elena, I'd like to help you, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Elena looked up, confused by this stranger's kindness. Why would you want to help me? You don't even know me. Her voice carried the weight of years of disappointment, of people who had made promises they didn't keep. Rachel smiled gently. Sometimes we help because we can, not because we have to. My father taught me that privilege comes with responsibility. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. I'm going to call a doctor I know. He runs a clinic that helps people without insurance. Will you let me take you there? Have you ever faced something like this? Let us know in the comments. Elena stared at this unexpected angel, afraid to believe that help had actually arrived. After years of struggling alone, could it really be this simple? Could kindness from a stranger actually change everything? Rachel's phone call lasted only 5 minutes, but it changed everything. Dr. Martinez at the community care clinic could see Elena immediately. As they walked to Rachel's car, a modest Honda, not the luxury vehicle Elena had expected, Rachel explained that the clinic provided sliding-scale medical care for uninsured patients. But I can't afford even sliding-scale fees, Elena protested weakly, her pride battling with her desperate need for help. Rachel opened the passenger door for Elena. Let me worry about that right now. Your only job is to get better. Her tone was gentle but firm, the voice of someone accustomed to solving problems efficiently. During the drive, Elena learned that Rachel worked in healthcare administration, which explained her knowledge of community resources. She spoke about her family's foundation that supported local medical clinics, but she didn't boast or make it sound like charity. Instead, she framed it as community investment, as neighbors helping neighbors. At the clinic, Dr. Martinez confirmed Elena's pneumonia and started her on antibiotics. He also arranged for chest X-rays and blood work, all covered through the clinic's assistance program. While Elena received treatment, Rachel stepped outside to make more phone calls. When the appointment ended, Rachel drove Elena to the pharmacy where her mother's medications were waiting, already paid for. Elena stared at the bag of insulin and heart medication, overwhelmed by gratitude and disbelief. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "Sometimes the universe puts people exactly where they need to be," Rachel replied. "You've been taking care of your mother for 3 years, working while sick, never asking for help. You deserve support, Elena. You deserve to not carry this burden alone." They drove to Elena's mother's apartment, where Carmen Rodriguez embraced her daughter with tears of relief. Rachel was introduced simply as a friend from work, though Carmen's wise eyes seemed to understand that something extraordinary had happened. As evening approached, Rachel prepared to leave. She handed Elena an envelope. "Inside is information about a job opening at the medical center where I work. It comes with health insurance and pays better than the diner. The interview is tomorrow if you're feeling up to it." If you've been enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. Elena held the envelope like a precious treasure, hardly believing that her nightmare was transforming into hope. But one question remained: who was this remarkable woman who had appeared like an angel in her darkest hour? The next morning, Elena felt human again for the first time in weeks. The antibiotics had already begun working, and a full night's sleep without worry had done wonders for her spirit. She dressed carefully for her interview at Chicago Medical Center, wearing her best blouse and the confidence that comes from knowing someone believes in you. The interview went better than she'd dreamed. The position was for a patient services coordinator, helping other people navigate the complex world of medical care and insurance. Her years of customer service experience and her personal understanding of struggling patients made her the perfect candidate. She would start Monday morning with full benefits beginning immediately. That afternoon, Elena returned to Murphy's diner to collect her final paycheck. Mr. Murphy surprised her by offering a sincere apology and a reference letter. "That friend of yours made me think about how I treat my employees," he admitted. "She didn't threaten or lecture me. She just asked if I'd want my daughter treated the way I treated you." Elena asked what he meant, but Mr. Murphy just smiled mysteriously and handed her the reference letter along with a bonus check, enough to cover her rent for the month. She found Rachel waiting outside the diner, and together they walked to a nearby coffee shop. Over warm lattes, Rachel finally shared the truth about her identity. Her father was Thomas Chen, founder of Chen Industries and one of Chicago's most successful business leaders. The foundation Elena had benefited from was one of many charitable endeavors the Chen family quietly supported throughout the city. "But why didn't you tell me who you were?" Elena asked, though she already understood the answer. "Because it didn't matter," Rachel replied simply. "You needed help, and I could provide it. Your worth as a human being doesn't depend on who helps you or why. You would have deserved that assistance whether I was a billionaire's daughter or another struggling waitress." Elena learned that Rachel often visited ordinary places throughout the city, not to play at being common, but to stay connected to real people facing real challenges. She'd been at Murphy's diner that morning for a meeting with Dr. Martinez about expanding clinic services in that neighborhood. "Sometimes the most extraordinary gifts come disguised as ordinary kindness," Rachel said as they parted ways. "You taught me that taking care of your mother while fighting your own battle takes incredible strength. Never forget how brave you've been." 6 months later, Elena thrived in her new position, her mother's health had stabilized, and she'd even started taking evening classes toward a nursing degree. But more importantly, she'd learned to recognize angels when they appeared, and she'd begun looking for ways to be an angel for others. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Thank you for joining us on this journey of unexpected kindness.